Welcome to the Fans Edge Sports Show, hosted by 216 Mike and E.G. LaFleur, and produced by Walt K. Disney. This is a sports show with a college football focus that allows fans to create topics and discussions.
So what we want you to do is to subscribe to our show and join the discussion. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at The Fans Edge. So make sure you like and follow. And we stream live every Sunday night, and the show will be available on all podcast platforms every Monday morning.
Let's go.
What's going
Shout
on,
out to
What's
everybody?
Gloria.
up?
What's
Hey.
good? What's good?
Man,
How
we
y'all
got a
feeling, man?
jam-packed day today, man. Hopefully we can get through this show in time.
Let's do it,
Super
man.
jam-packed.
I'm
Yeah,
excited,
man.
man.
Hey,
I'm
man,
excited.
we were like 6 weeks away? 6 weeks away, guys?
Hey,
Yeah.
man. Every day I wake up, I'm hoping it's August, man.
Let's
Woo.
go.
All I can
Let's
do is
go.
watch old shows and old college football playoff games and call it a
Hey,
day. But
So yeah,
let
we got the computer screen fixed. I'm back in action. Knock on some wood.
mine's will be
Rub that
fixed
in.
soon. Mine's will be fixed soon.
Let's go. Let's go.
no. So
So
let's jump right
go ahead.
in it. Let's see, Jamarcus Russell on the pivot this last episode that they had. He made some very interesting comments regarding coaching staff and his career. He, for those who didn't know, he was the former number one overall pick. He was they consider him one of the biggest busts in NFL history. So he had a lot to say about that on this last episode. What y'all take?
You want to start out, Mike, or you want me to start out?
It don't matter, man. I mean, I guess I'll go. I mean, the thing is there's always two sides to every story. We've heard the one side of the story, and we really haven't heard Jamarcus Russell's side of the story. He talked about the whole, getting a blank film and stuff like that, and he said it just happened to be a day that he wasn't watching film. But my take is this he's coming up with excuses, and the biggest thing about this is you didn't do anything to keep your job. You didn't do anything. So what? Someone was, setting you up to fail. What did you do to set yourself up for success? And I think that's the lesson that he fails to realize is life handed you lemons and you refuse to make lemonade.
Right. And I agree with that, man. I was just watching the pivot, man. I'm kicked back watching the show, and I'm listening to this guy talk, man. He's pointing a lot of fingers at guys like, my teammates were sorry they couldn't catch a reverse in practice, and they expect me to throw an 80-yard bomb. I'm just listening at this guy like, are you serious, man? You're the first overall pick. You are held to a higher standard.
Right.
You're not a fifth-round wide receiver that's fighting to make a job. The job was given to you. And back then, I really wanted to talk about this because back then, rookies were guaranteed money. And the one thing about rookies back then, you could make the mistake of getting complacent, just like I fear in the NIL situation. But anyway, he got what, $65 million on draft day. His contract was like $65 million. He got about 35 guaranteed. He was more concerned about his guaranteed money. You can hear in this conversation, he was more concerned about the money he was getting than making his teammates better, putting in any work. He didn't care to watch film. It's just like he was half doing everything. He wanted to be considered like the other guys. Coach said in his country, he said that coach had in his contract that he had to be at a certain weight. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't know that was in his contract. And he had to be around 260. He may have been 272 or 273. And every time he was overweight, he was docked maybe $10,000. And that's the thing. They're trying to keep you in shape. And you complain about a coach making you run sprints. He said he don't want to do any punishment running. It's not punishment running, man. It's to get you to fulfill your contract. It's to get you to stay in shape. It's to get you to be ready. He don't want to run. Coaches docking him for incomplete practices because he skips out on the sprints. I mean, he's putting literally no work in to be this great guy. We all know he was natural born with the talent, man. He had a strong arm. We saw him throw like 70 yards on one knee. Everybody was like, wow, this is that guy. I think he really let a lot of people down, man. And I still salute him, man. He's one of the best talents I've seen in college football. I'm glad the man's not broke. He said his money long, yada,
Hmm.
yada, congrats. But, man, he didn't put in a lot of work. Whenever you're a first overall pick, and you played 3 years and teams are not calling you back after you play for one team, you only played for one team as the number one overall pick. Something is
Right.
wrong in your character, man. A team doesn't call you back. He said he got 2 workouts, but still, you didn't play for another team. You're the
Yeah, I
first
mean,
overall pick. You get the most chances.
this is the thing about it, man. To think that this team drafted him and didn't know that he was the type of guy that didn't watch film. For this team to draft him and to act like they didn't know that he was gonna be sipping, double cup style. Like it's foolish, and I'm not buying it. I mean, to be honest, I think the failure of Jamarcus Russell is just as much on the organization, just as much as it is him. I mean, you knew this guy's work ethic, you knew how he was. I mean,
Right.
one thing that we know is the organization is going and asking the strength coach, they're asking the head coach, they're asking your position coach. Hey, they might ask the janitor or one of the ball boys, one of the GAs. Hey, how did he treat you? Oh man, he treated me like ish.
Right.
Hey, they're gonna find something on you, bro. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. If he got the money and all of that, more power to him. Salute him. It is what it is. But like he said, if you're gonna call him the bus, go ahead and put the biggest on it. So hey,
Exactly.
you
so
know,
he the biggest bust.
and he was right because he's one of the most talented guys, and that means a lot when you're that talented and you fail. Yeah, you are the biggest bust because we thought you had the most talent. And another thing, man, I thought it was hilarious. They said they gave him a blank DVD and asked have you watched film, and he was like, yeah, I watched it. The whole time the DVD was blank. So that's just testing his character. I feel like that was kind of disrespectful. That was kind of low down, but at the same time, that was funny as hell.
It's
That's
definitely
hilarious.
funny, but it could be like let's say like all that week he probably did watch film, and that was that one day he
One
did.
day. That's what I was
Yeah,
Right,
thinking.
right,
that's the
right.
that's the thing about it. But I do think the NFL is kind of changing. But one thing that they have never done is say, "Hey, we're going to take your skill set and build around you."
I
They
agree.
never did that, and
Mm-mm.
that was also something that kind of handicapped him because if you're the type of guy that's not watching film and things like that, then that coaching staff needs to be doing things a whole lot different, so that you can be successful. But that's my takes on the Jamarcus Russell thing.
Man,
Right.
and my last thing about it, I just hope that this NIL stuff doesn't cause players to get in that mold. I don't know if they're signing contracts or how the contract part of it works yet because it's still fairly new. But I just hope not to see college players take 5 to 10 million and just get complacent, be good, and stop working out and start not sprinting and doing the things it takes to be better than everyone else. I just hope it doesn't lead to that.
Right. And you can do all those things. I mean, you can do all those things and enjoy those things as long as you're producing. I mean, if you're
Right,
producing
right.
and you're working out and continue to improve, then more power to you. But if you're not producing, then get with it. You got to change that whole mindset.
Long
Right,
term
right,
Okay.
money versus short term money, right?
right.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to college football. Media days ramping up. The Pac-12 media days, it was this past Wednesday and Thursday. And they had a little bit of news. They have a new commissioner from Rock Nation. The message is they're open for business. So
Mm.
more realignment and vetting interested teams to join the Pac-12. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens with the Pac-12. This whole realignment got every school shaking in their boots, or every fan shaking in the boots, trying to see what happens to their team and where they moving to. So
The realignment got the Pac-12 just looking just On the outside end, man, they're looking bad, man. I hope they can do some things to give themselves a spark. I hope they get new TV deals or something that makes teams go out there, man. Goodness.
Yeah, so I do want to apologize, team, because I did put that it was the Pac-12, and I believe it was the Big 12.
Oh, the Big 12?
Yeah,
Big 12?
I messed that up in our outline. That's my
Ah,
apologies
the Big 12,
because
yes.
it was the Big
Brett.
12. Yeah, I was up late last night messing with this, and I messed that up. But I did record the Big 12 media days. I watched all of it, and I watched all the coaches. And I'll tell you, the biggest takeaway that I took from it was the OU program, because I'm like, they lost Lincoln Riley. What are they going to be? As an offense, what are they going to be on defense? But that wasn't the biggest takeaway of Brett Venables being there. The biggest takeaway was the difference between the programs and what the players were saying. They said under Lincoln Riley, the play calling, I mean, not the play calling, but the culture was lazy, more relaxed. The difference between Brett Venables is everything is elite. You're talking about sprinting on and off the field. Everything giving it 100%, 1,000% effort. And it's crazy to hear this, but maybe this is why at OU they weren't able to get nitty gritty in the trenches. This is why when they went up against them big time teams, why they lost. This is why you see that or saw that program losing to the teams that they shouldn't have been losing to,
Right.
for the simple fact of you allowed them to get relaxed. You allowed them, Lincoln Riley. So what does that culture, taking that culture over to USC, how long does he last with that type of culture? Because he took that same strength conditioning coach and all of them guys right on to USC with him. That's the culture that they had, that they have.
Right. And Lincoln Riley, man, he's a little on the younger side. And I feel like you need some of those old school coaches always on the staff because as when I played football and when you played football, most of our coaches were those old school coaches. He made us do everything on a hop, is what coach say. Everything is done on a hop. You sprint to your drill, you sprint to the sideline, you sprint to get water, you sprint back. Everything is not necessarily a sprint, but it's on a hop. You're at a pace because you want to have a workout all during your practice. You want to get in shape in all forms. And you got to sprint. You got to teach that culture. But one thing I do want to say about the Oklahoma program right now is Venables is going to have to prove himself, man, because as I look at it, I'm looking at the state of Oklahoma recruiting right now. And Arkansas has two of the top 4 players in that state on their commitment list. That's something that was never done when OU was on top. That's something I never seen, like a top wide receiver. He's the number 1 wide receiver, number 3 player in that class in Oklahoma. And he's usually for sure going to OU. And now other people are starting to get those players like Arkansas and those outskirt teams. Michigan State got their number 1 player. And it's like Venables has to prove himself. I feel like it's a lot of proving to go on. And, good luck to that program. I just don't know what Oklahoma is going to look like here in the future.
Yeah, and I do want to say this about the Big 12 conference because, they get this new commissioner and he's from Rock Nation. I can't remember his name, but he worked at Rock Nation. Yeah, and he one thing that he has been working on the forefront of is NIL for the longest. Mm-hmm. He also has a brother that works for Rock Nation that works on the Europe side. So who's to say that the Big 12 can't end up getting Europe ties and be playing games out there? Because what we know is there has been a huge influx in the past few years of European players coming into America, getting college scholarships. So if you can go out there and put your team and say, hey, your team or one of your teams is going to possibly come out here to Europe and play or something like that, then hey, I can go on this team, and one of my years that I'm playing is going to be played in Europe. Sign me up. I get to play at home. Sign me up. So I mean, something's coming with the Big 12. I mean, you guys know I've been saying it's going to be the Big 2, right?
Yep.
It's only going to be the Big 2. But the Big 12 got me thinking that it possibly could be the Big 3. Because they're open for business. They've already had other schools calling in, and they're vetting those schools that are calling in to see if they bring some type of value to make their market in the Big 12 go up.
And that's all you have to do, man. Be open to change, man. Like, we haven't heard a lot from the Pac-12, as we mentioned earlier. We haven't heard a lot from those guys. I want to see the Big 10, the Big 12 get better. I want to see those Texas teams be on top again, because Baylor's had a great run. Texas Tech used to be a great school, and I believe those schools can produce the revenue to be those good teams. We need to see some TV deals being made and things like that to see what's going on over there to hype the Big 12 up, because we need another conference that's pretty tough. We need that other conference. We don't want it to be the Big 2. I want the ACC to produce. I want the Big 12 to produce.
And that's one of the things.
I don't see it being no ACC or any Pac-12 anymore, man. This is crazy. ESPN, Fox, what they doing? Hey, they doing something, man. But they know. And I'll tell you this, because this is what's interesting that we didn't talk about with the ACC. I don't think that we talked about it, but why would the ESPN allow an ACC school to go to the SEC right now when they're already paying them a lower margin than what they're paying SEC schools?
Yeah.
So why pay them more?
Right. And my thing is this: the ACC is wide open, man. Like, what Cristobal is doing right now, it looks as if he could take over that conference. He might can bring that excitement, and this year they'll have to play in the ACC. Those teams have to still be ACC schools, and maybe down the line next year or the year after that, they talk about realignments, But I think these next few years is big years for ACC to make those type of moves. And the one team for sure is Miami, because they're recruiting like crazy right now.
Yeah.
And they could be that one team that could venture off. They could come to the SEC and maybe compete. Right now, I don't think so. They could go to the Big 10, even though travel would be crazy. I think
that would be
geographically, it makes sense for the SEC, but right now, geographic is not involved in the realignments at all.
Only thing that make if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right?
Right.
And that's the only thing that matters.
And I think that you can bring in those dollars to go anywhere, man.
And that's one of the big things that Brett Yorkmark, which is the ex-executive Rock Nation producer, he said that he was trying to bring in money for the Big 12 and leveraging those networking and signing those deals for games and different things like that. So he wants to make sure. And then also with concerns of Oklahoma and Texas moving conferences and different things like that, he wants to make sure that they do stay on top. So like Mike said, we could see, instead of the Big 2, we could possibly see the Big 3.
I mean, think of the new commissioners that it's been. Kevin Warren, he's worked in entertainment, NFL entertainment, with the Minnesota Vikings. And then bringing this guy in, working in entertainment with Rock Nation. So we're seeing these guys knowing exactly what they're doing, like you said, leveraging the TV partners and these networks who they've already had relationships with. I mean, I think we're going to see something special coming from the Big 12, man.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean, we got some other media days coming too.
Oh, yeah, coming up.
I'll go ahead, Disney.
No. You go ahead, AG. What's good?
No, I was just gonna ask Mike, what are some of the interesting things that he heard from these media days? Because I myself personally, I don't watch every single media day. I'm the type of person, I watch my favorite team. I watch the top teams in each conference, but I don't just sit and watch everyone. So if you could let me know some of the interesting things you heard from those media days.
Yeah, man. I heard some very interesting things. about teams like Kansas State, teams like
Mhm.
Oklahoma State, like people thinking that these teams have lost a lot of people and they haven't, and then the people coming back. Definitely some players that I have penciled down for fantasy that I won't say their names on. But I mean, I think that from the Big 12, let's see, he definitely made the case, or you could say like there can be a case made for Baylor and also who else? Because they was talking about a lot of return in production coming back.
I know Baylor wasn't returning a lot of production. They had a lot of guys in the NFL draft this year.
Um, I'll have to pull it up on Pick Six. We'll talk about Pick Six later, but I got you.
All right.
Well, coming up is the SEC Media Days, which starts off on Monday, July 18th. So on Monday, we got the schedule starts off with LSU, Brian Kelly, Ole Miss, Missouri. And then Tuesday, we got Alabama, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. On Wednesday, for the Razorback fans, we got Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky. And then Thursday, we got Auburn, and all my Vol fans out there, we got Tennessee and Texas A&M. So
And
it's
so, go ahead.
oh no, I was about to say it's about to be a jam-packed week. We do have a couple of noticeable football players in attendance. Bryce Young, Jordan Battle, KJ Jefferson, Bumper Pool will be there as well. So we're just gonna have a big mix of everything. I know it's about to be jam-packed with the SEC Media Days starting up as
You know,
well. So.
what I'm interested to hear from the SEC Media Days, I'm interested to hear what Brian Kelly is gonna say. Like, what are you gonna do different here? What are you gonna do to win some games, sir? Because when you perpetrate the culture like he's done, hey man, we're looking at you like a red flag. Like, that's not gonna cut it. You come here and just coach football. Don't dance around. Don't come out in Jordans. Don't you talk like you're from Louisiana, man. Let us know what you're gonna do to win some football games. And that's what I expect to hear from him. Also, I expect to hear a little of that beef. I expect Nick Saban to throw a few more shots this week. I expect that. I want to hear him talk about this NIL situation. I want to hear him and Jimbo fight. I want to hear this. And it's going to make a great game. And I want to hear what this team is going to do to what this team's going to do, because A&M got the number right now. Even though A&M didn't go to the championship, Alabama didn't win. So, hey, it's even. So I want to hear a little about the beef. I want to see. I'm just saying, as far as next year, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
Alabama is not going to
Clean
look over
slate.
them. Yeah, it's a clean slate. Alabama is not going to look over them. They're not going in there thinking they're going to win. But I want to hear something along the lines. I want to hear the beef. I want to hear the ruckus. You know, I want to hear Jimbo throw some shots. Jimbo not scared. Talk to Saban. Tell him about himself. Even though Saban's the GOAT, you can't tell him nothing. But, I want to hear some of this beef.
So yeah, I am interested in hearing what these new coaches that have came into the SEC have to say. I want to hear their thoughts on Texas OU coming into the conference. I want to hear what Billy Napier and how he felt. If he can just shed some light on the fan base and what they're saying about a little more, expanding on why he wrote that letter, things
Yep.
like that. And then I also want to know, what do they think about the team that they'll be coming in? Also, what you can learn from these media days, I think why they're so crucial is you can get to learn the type of defenses and you can get these kids a little out of their element. They kind of tell you and give you a little bit of nuggets about what's going on in it, going on during camp and things like that. Like, is the team running a 3-3-5 defense? The different, are they running a 3-4 defense this year? What's changed? What's the focal position? Is it, a safety driven defense? Is it going to be, D-line heavy led defense, things like that. So I like to get those type of nuggets from media days. I'm looking forward to that at SEC media days for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely looking forward to, especially for Tennessee, seeing what type of adjustments they will make this upcoming year, and
I do.
actually gearing. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I do want to say this, BG. So we're going to talk about this magazine later on, but this magazine went ahead and rated coming back. They got first team offense in the Big 12.
Yeah, I
Two
saw
two
those
Baylor
lists.
two Baylor players. Second team tight end Baylor. You got a couple people on the defense. Baylor first team and Baylor on the second team. Like, I mean,
That's interesting.
and then when you're talking about the defensive unit ranks at D line, Baylor ranks at 1. Linebacker, they rank 1. DB, they rank 1. So, I mean, I think their offense speaks for itself. And I mean, the offense, QB ranks 6, running backs rank 5, wide receiver / tight end unit ranks at 7. But I mean, I think their tight end, they've already picked them to be a second team in the conference. So
That's interesting. I didn't know. But Baylor is a pretty good program, man. Like I said, they won a lot of games last year.
yeah,
And
that's what I was saying. A lot of people think that they got a lot of people like, not on the roster or anything
eh,
like that. And I'm like,
I guess, the guys that I saw, I guess they had one or two corners and one or two wide receivers. They were skill players that they lost, but the fact that you rated their D line number 1 says a lot. I think that's a big deal on your defense anyway. And like I said, I felt like they lost a lot, but I could be wrong. I just remember seeing Baylor players show up in the draft. They had a couple guys run 4.3, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm realizing, Baylor is a team. They have talent out there. People sleep on Baylor, and they don't mention them as far. They don't mention the Big 12 period. And I feel like Baylor
yeah,
could be a team that could come and disrupt a lot of teams. And shout out to my guy Gary Bohannon, who played there last year, who was the quarterback most of the year. He's from Arkansas. I watched that kid grow up down the street from me, and he lost his job toward the end of the year, or he got hurt a situation. But I'm excited for Baylor next year. I want to see what's going on.
Yep, I definitely listed Baylor as one of my sleeper teams, so we'll see what they do this season. And then switching over to the ACC, their media day will be held July 20th and the 21st in North Carolina. So the ACC apparently, which I didn't know, I was reading this the other day. The ACC continued to establish itself as the conference of quarterbacks in 2021, according to the ACC.com. Hey, I'm citing my source, and it says that many of those players will be returning this year. So we'll see what media days have to say. You got Boston College, Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, Pitt, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, and all the coaches will be there as well as some noticeable players. So
yeah.
we'll see if they'll
The
continue to
quarterback,
establish.
the
I'm
quarterback
interested.
conference.
I'm very interested in that. I'm interested in their media days. I'm interested to hear what Miami has to say. I want to know about Clemson and the defense going forward, but I also want to know about their offense going forward, which was, the defense bailed Clemson out a lot last year. I also want to know, what about Wake Forest? What about Pitt, man? Losing a lot. They bring in Keaton Slovis, but
Slovis.
obviously it wasn't enough to keep Addison, to
They
stay there
basically did a
as
swap,
well.
didn't they?
I mean, basically. And
Right.
then, I also want to hear what the ACC thinks about their conference realignment and stuff like that. And I want to hear if there's panic in the commissioner's voice. I do want to see that. I know they're going to give us, the political speak, but I like to see if I can wade through all the BS sometimes.
A lot of these conferences, I don't think they can make moves right now. I think they have to go through this year because none of these teams that are realigning are moving right now anyway. So I think they have this year to play it out to see more about the realignment because we've known about Texas and OU movement way before all of the mayhem went down. And I think they have to play it through to get to that realignment talk. So I'm not sure if they'll cover it during media day. They might say something quick, but like I said, they still have this whole season to figure
They
out what's going
they
on
got to
because
say something about their future. It doesn't have to
right,
be
right,
this year, but your
right, right,
future is on
right,
the line of your. I mean, the thing is you had teams like Mizzou getting in the SEC right away.
right, right,
Like these other schools and these other people saw that vision of what was going to happen and they got in that spot. The ACC has been stagnant and they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything to create their brand, make their brand better, or push it to be one of those top 3 conferences. That's why they got the crappy deal that they got, you know?
right.
So, I mean, I want to hear what they got to say about their future because they have to say something about it. Whether they do it this year or years from now, what is the plan? Because it looks like after your TV rights gets down to about 5 years within, everybody's done with you.
And another thing, man, you mentioned something about Clemson. I haven't. Clemson has been fairly quiet, if you ask me, to be a normal Clemson year. They've been fairly quiet. Like we don't know what's going on inside their program. And I really want to know this quarterback situation. Do they believe in that guy? I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Yuga Lair, however you say his name, or and I just want to know what's going on because I see his brother. Where his brother going to school at? Didn't he commit recently?
Matateo, no, he hasn't committed yet.
Okay, so it's just interesting to see what's going on with that quarterback situation. I'm sure he probably he don't want to go to Clemson, man. What's going on right now, man? Because we talked about it on one of our previous shows. We're not sure if quarterbacks are developing down there. You come in with the swagger because a quarterback comes in ready when he's playing as a freshman, and that's what Trevor Lawrence did. He played as soon as he got there, so he was well equipped. So we don't know the developmental stage of Clemson and their quarterback. So I just want to
So
hear what's
I
going
I
on.
believe I believe that Clemson got rid of their the guy who was running the offense. I believe it's a new guy, but I
Yeah, they
can
got
tell
rid of
you
Chad
this.
Morris because it was Chad Morris
I,
last
I,
year.
I believe I can tell you this because I spoke to DJ, who was the quarterback last year.
Hmm.
I spoke to Big Dave. Anybody know Big Dave is his dad? Spoke to him on Twitter Spaces, asked him a few questions, and
Nice.
he told us that DJ has been working harder than he's ever worked. I believe DJ has slimmed up his body a little bit, looks a little bit more ripped. Um, and I think that we're going to see great things out of DJ. I mean, from what his dad was saying, I mean, I understand that anybody's going to speak highly of their kid, but if you've ever spoken to Big Dave, like like dude's just a real dude. He's a realist at heart, and he also cares about the kids and stuff like that. So I mean, he was also talking about looking forward to USC going to the Big Ten and things like that. So I mean, I think we're going to see great things out of DJ. I think it's going to be between. I mean, like we've been saying, the ACC is kind of a toss up. But I mean, I've started, reading and breaking these teams down a little bit more, and it seems like the 3 teams is going to be between NC State, Clemson, and Miami.
Miami,
But
of course.
but I don't think Miami is going to be as good as some people thinking. And yes,
Not right
I was
away.
one of them who picked them to go to the college football playoffs. I was one of them who picked them to win the ACC, and it's not out the realm of possibility, but
My
I'm
thing,
starting to take a little bit backseat on that.
so my thing with Miami is like they have all the potential in the world right now. They have a new coaching system. They have some great coaches on their system, some championship coaches on their squad right now. And the thing is, are they over that hump defensively to stop losing those close games? Stop being in close games with everyone. They'll go blow a team out, and then they'll play Appalachian State to the T. They'll lose to Virginia. They'll lose to a struggling Florida State program. So are the woes behind you? Because if you listen to those fans of the U, and I take everything into consideration. I listen to those guys, and they're like, next year we're winning 10 games, maybe even 11. I'm like, dude, in 1 year, you think y'all can get over the hump from just playing everyone close and having these woes? I don't see it, but I think the future is bright. I just don't know if it happens immediately. And did you guys also see social media deem the gritty dead because Dabo was grittying around the court? Did y'all see
No, I
Dabo doing
missed
the
that.
gritty?
Oh
Yeah,
What?
man,
I
It was
seen it. Yeah,
horrible. It
it
was
was.
horrible.
What else you got for us, Diz?
time to retire that. And then we also got the Big Ten Media Days, which starts Tuesday, July 26th, and runs July 27th, and it will be in Indianapolis. So on day one, we got Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Northwestern. And then on day two, we got Illinois, Michigan State, the Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue, Rutgers, and Wisconsin.
And
So it's
and,
about to
and
be a jam 2 days, bro.
that's one I really want to listen to because I want to hear the alarming talks of these two teams coming over to the Big Ten, and that's one media day I want to hear. I want to know what's scrambling in their head, how they feel, like because I expect to hear them say it's going to be more of a challenge, things like that, and I just want to hear what they're going to say, and I want to hear how the players feel, because recruiting's going to change. You got these California teams coming out there, and a lot of things are going to change, man. That's one media day I feel like I can't miss.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear what the Commissioner Kevin Warren has to say about USC and UCLA. Don't think that he really was that big a part of bringing them on. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. But I want to hear the Big Ten teams from the West because between you're talking about Iowa, you're talking about Wisconsin, you're talking about Nebraska, possibly Purdue, possibly Minnesota. All of these teams bringing so many guys back, and Scott Frost being on the hot seat. I'm looking forward to seeing what these teams are really thinking about the squad. You got the former quarterback from Texas, Casey Thompson, transferring to Nebraska as well. He's been in some close games, some big time games, and he could bring that experience over to Nebraska and give them a little bit of confidence. So I want to see also who Nebraska brings, like the guys. I like to, that because I think that's also telling, the guys that these teams bring as well. So
All right, all right.
Do you think Michigan coming in on the high to this media day?
who
Michigan,
who they what conference they playing?
You hear what she said,
What
man.
conference they
You think they
playing?
coming in on the high, especially after they
They
defeated Iowa
man,
in the last season?
I let them keep talking. Just
Okay,
let them keep talking. Yes,
You
okay.
Lord.
know,
Please keep talking.
I just want to know where they're headed too. I want to know what Michigan. I want to know where they're headed, man. I want to hear it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I hope they ask Jim Harbaugh about his comments about Ryan Day being born on third and stuff. Yeah, I want to hear that. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I want to see, what I'm saying, if they have that confidence, if they feel like they can get you guys this year.
yeah.
I want to know
With
because you
that
ain't got to.
cupcake schedule. Yeah,
Hey,
they not
man, let's not talk
man.
about cupcake schedules when you
We're not
guys
talking
got
about the
one too.
schedules.
We're not talking about it right now.
We're not getting
I
on
can,
that whole
We're
argument.
not
I
No,
about to
can
that's
get on the
see,
not,
schedule.
yeah.
yeah, bro. Let's not do that, bro. You definitely don't want to go there.
Nah, I don't want to go there,
Cause,
Oh,
but
cause,
don't say
hey,
it
I
about
will, I
Michigan.
will create a blind resume and then I'm telling you, the blind
Hey, look.
resume will, the blind resume has killed fans,
Hey, look. Let's
has
not talk
broken
about.
people's hearts.
Let's not talk about Michigan's schedule being weak because I feel like a lot of team schedules up there are weak. But I'm not. We're not getting into that debate.
we know that we gonna moving on. So we got some preview publication magazines. First coming up is the Phil Steele's college football preview magazine. So that's one of the publications that actually, Mike, did you just purchase that yesterday? This man, how you drove?
Man, yeah, I went to Barnes and Nobles to go get this magazine. Actually, I got it sitting right here. Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
Looking
need
like
to
a
This
see
is
that.
dictionary.
yeah, this is the Yeah, it's pretty thick. This is the magazine. Everybody, if you're a college football fan, everybody gets this magazine. Um, it doesn't just do Power Five. This goes all the way through Group of Five as well. That's why it's
Where
like
did you
one of
purchase
them.
that from?
Barnes and Nobles is in every Barnes and Nobles. Just ask for the magazine section,
Nice.
and
I'm gonna
they
have to pick
always
that
say that
up.
it's closer to the front of the store by the entrance. That's
All
how it
right.
was down here.
Yeah, I need to
But
pick
yeah,
that up.
Oh yeah, and then we also got the Pick Six previews as well, and
yes,
that you can get digital and in the actual book form too. So
yeah,
it's more in
hard
depth of the
copy.
Power Five teams, and then we'll be using this to do a lot of breakdown. I've gone through it, and it is jammed packed with tons of information, 161 pages of information about every team, basically the whole
Yeah,
breakdown
Every team
and
in the Power Five only
in the
though,
Power. Yeah, in the
including
Power
yes.
Five. Yeah,
including like Notre Dame. So I believe there's like 66 teams.
I
yeah.
need that book, man. I want to dive into some schools that I really didn't pay attention to. I want to know what's going on in Wake Forest because I have a friend who I referee with. I'm a referee in my free time, and I got a friend who I referee with, and his son just picked Wake Forest to commit to over Clemson, Georgia, Auburn, some great teams, and he was like, he
What
was really
position he play?
he plays corner. His name is like Khalil Barnes. His daddy name, we call him Mr. Barnes. So his name is like Khalil Barnes or somewhere in the lines of that. He's like a 3 or 4 star. I think he's a 4 star. He's a pretty good player in Georgia. And I actually talked to him at camp, watched him at camp for a few years now. And he committed to Wake Forest because they have great facilities. He went there to that town and was completely blown away about the facilities, what the program has to offer, what they're building. So those are the teams I want to dive into and learn more about because those are teams you sleep on because they're not a 10-win season every year, but they're making progress, man. They had a few wins last year, and I want to dive into those type of teams and learn more about those teams. I need those magazines.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Pick Six Previews is one that I highly recommend. If anybody was following me back when I was doing a few shows in 2019, you'll know that I picked the LSU Tigers to make the college football playoffs and to win the SEC. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. They told me about this Bama team and stuff like that. But it was just diving in. I don't think Pick Six Previews even picked LSU, but it was just diving in, and everything that I was reading is what led me to that. If you're thinking that a team is losing a lot of production, what this will do is it'll tell you the percentage of returning production on offense, the percentage of returning production on defense. So
Yeah,
I mean, also, when you're picking those teams, right? So like they'll go back so far in like the 5-year game grader, because you got to think about it. Your seniors, your top players probably on the field, probably 5-year guys been there in 4 years or so, right? So you break that down. You got, I want to say at 1, you got your Bama, 2, you got your Georgia, 3, Ohio State, and then 4, your Clemson. Right there, kind of gauge. You can kind of gauge where your college football playoff can kind of be at. So
yeah.
I also
But
like doing that as well. I mean, it breaks it down. It's something that you guys will definitely be seeing us use during our breakdown videos when we have these top games early in the season before we actually, get film and know what these teams are and we're able to get our own data. This is what I will be going to for my breakdowns for these games.
Oh yeah.
nice.
And also it includes, I know last episode we were talking about recruiting. It also gives a 10-year recruiting trend as well. So you can see where your teams have been and where they're going and seeing the trends that they're on. So I'm definitely interested to do a deep dive into this and hopefully help with a little bit of fantasy, coming up too as
Yeah,
well. So,
definitely gonna help with that fantasy
Hey,
too.
this
I
is my
cannot
this is
wait.
my first year playing college football fantasy. College football is my favorite sport. So, and I play NFL fantasy. I've been playing about 5, 6 years, and to do it with my favorite sport, man, I'm really excited. And not only is it fun, it teaches you more about more players. You learn about more players. You know about the production of more players. So I'm always willing to learn, man. I'm excited to play this year.
Oh yeah, make sure you get on that draft early. Whew, last year was
Oh yeah.
chaos.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
I know about
Yeah.
being on time to those drafts, man. We put in $100 in our pot. In our league, in our NFL league, you win about $1,000 to $1,500, man.
Yeah.
So it's
In
really
my league,
serious.
auto draft is not a thing.
Auto draft does not exist. You auto draft,
Yeah.
we bound to start the draft over, kick you out.
Nah, it's not even a thing in the league. Like, bro, like I clicked that off, man.
Yeah, I don't even
But
like it,
we
man.
did have last year in fantasy football, we had a guy miss the entire draft. And the
Man,
one good thing about college, and we're not doing this many people this year, but last year it was like 20 people in the league. He still found a full roster and still was one of the top like guys in the division and
it happened in our NFL
almost
league as
played
well.
the college football playoffs in our fantasy league. So
It,
I
it
mean,
happened with us too, man, in
that's the good
NFL.
thing about college, man. There's a lot of talent and a lot of hitting guys, man, that you can find out there. But in the college football, we only do the Power Five because doing the Group of Five teams, that's just way too much. So.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
much, man. There's too many guys out there.
But
Oh yeah.
hey, guys, I have nothing else for you all. Disney, do you got anything else for us?
Nope, I don't have anything else. I just want everybody to go out there and like, subscribe. Make sure you retweet every single thing that you see the fans as posting. I've been
Let's
posting content on
go.
YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. We actually getting traction on TikTok. So for those who have already followed, we've been getting about 300 views and we got about 36 likes. So we continue to push out content. We're going to continue to ramp up content, so make sure y'all are tuning in. So I just want to thank everybody for listening to the Fans Edge, and make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace. Follow Fans Edge, baby.
We out of here.